Resurrect the Dead Wizard is an action adventure game that includes horror and fantasy genres. The objective of the game is to collect all the necessary body parts of the Dead Wizard in order to resurrect the wizard. The game includes action cards players need to use in order to move across the board. Item cards are used to collect body parts or jump scare and humor cards to make the gameplay experience unpredictable and more competitive. The game requires players to strategize their own moves carefully and to allow individual players to have control over their movements on the board. Since this game includes some horror elements, the intended audience is aimed for players who are aged 16 and above. It is designed for a 3 to 5 group of players. This game is suitable for players who love strategy games that includes various elements. According to the game theme and setting, the position in the industry could be hybrid. It contains both features of the Ameritrash and Eurogames. The use of strategy decision is more into Eurogames, and the humor and jump scare cards are more thematic and luck-based, which is the same with the Ameritrash. In the industry, these are some examples of hybrid board games. I have compared this game with the Galaxy Tracker. There are some similarities. Both games involve building or constructing, resource management aspects, and elements of luck. There are also some difference in theme, gameplay, and target audience. These games' mechanics are similar to the Galaxy Tracker, so based on the complexity of Resurrect the Dead Wizard, we could set the price within $50 to $80. This is just a rough estimation for the price. So this is the 3-act structure for this game. Act 1, the setup. Players set up the board game and move around on the board game to collect body parts. Act 2, confrontation. Players resurrect the wizard and the final battle starts. And Act 3, resolution. End of the round, players could discuss the best moment of the game.
rtdw's initial design and layout presents conventional horror elements that appeal to players who enjoy horror themes and who would find the visuals aesthetically pleasing. This RPG could be classified as a niche game due to the narrower audience base in comparison to other genres of board games. We predict that this game will be successful in the marketplace due to its reasonable pricing, original storyline, creating fun and thoughtful scenarios, and by drawing players in with elements of suspense. rtdw includes warfare elements and opportunities to create strategies to attack opponents and collect their items when engaging enemies. These gaming concepts incorporated into the rtdw's design are trending in the marketplace. An example of the fantasy elements popular in the marketplace is Dungeons & Dragons, with over 50 million players today in the D&D community. The game will be available in the mass market retailers Kmart and Big W, and retailers specializing in tabletop games such as EB Games and Games World. Board games are sold through online and retail distribution networks, including specialty stores, supermarkets, and hypermarkets. Mass market players, department stores, small chain stores, freestanding toy stores, catalog stores, and other non-tracked retail outlets. The sale of board games via retail stores such as supermarkets and specialty stores has always remained high across the globe. Potential success of rtdw is most likely due to its horror theme, as horror is a currently trending cross-platform entertainment genre. The game has an appeal due to the fact that it has an original storyline and is not based on a licensed market story that players are already familiarized with. This will tweak game interests who are wanting to experience a new genre and style of gameplay.
This board game has humor cards, action cards, jump scare cards, token, wizard body parts cards, wizard equipment cards, wizard board, treasure shop board, and main board. Setup. Each player starts with a basic wizard board, prepares a pack of action cards. A shop is set up with various wizard body parts and wizard equipment cards, which are shuffled and pressed down in a separate deck available for purchase. Humor cards and jump scare cards are pressed down into 2 separate card decks. Building phase. Players pick up action cards to move along the game board spaces and move to a specific spot on the board. And when landing on a space with scattered wizard body parts, do what the spot said. Players can buy wizard body parts or wizard equipment cards and get them from the deck randomly, and sell or trade them. to earn money in your round. Once one player collects all wizard parts, the final battle starts. Battle phase. A player who resurrected a wizard first asks other players to battle with the player. If nobody wants to have a battle with the player is going to win. Endgame. A player who resurrected a wizard or other players who beat the player wins the game. Key game loops. Picking up an action card. The action card has a number that indicates how many slots to move on the board. Check and takes event of the round, and collect wizard parts, and whoever reaches the start point again gets token. Mechanics. This board game has events, push your luck, trading, one pass many, and resource management.
When we have been conceptualizing and designing the narrative and themes for Resurrect the Dead Wizard, we have been focused on balancing the playability of the game and creating a detailed world for players to experience. We're especially focusing on two key areas: strongly focusing on themes that our target audience will be interested in, and making sure the game can be played with or without the game focusing on the embedded story. In regards to themes, we have identified our target audience is young adults, so we have focused on creating a game that's themed to reflect that. rtdw is a dark comedy fantasy game. The emphasis in this scenario is on the dark comedy. Unlike if we were targeting a younger audience, we would maybe not include references to violence or other such taboo topics. But with the popularity of games like Cards Against Humanity in this demographic, we decided it would be a good move for the game to incorporate some of those features. Our second topic of balancing narrative with playability. Even with the knowledge we can't fully control a player's experience, we have focused on incorporating features to increase the player's ability to fully realize the game's narrative. As seen here, this is the written version of our storyboard. This was made to give a basic introduction to the game and the world. We wanted to create lore for the world, but at the same, we wanted to create detailed characters and detailed world lore for the world, but at the same time didn't want to make the game unplayable for someone who wasn't interested in the aspect of playing. The idea of role-playing and being invested in the lore is not necessary to play the game. So it was an interesting balance that we tried to strive for when balancing the immersiveness of the lore with the ability to pick up and play the game without being involved into the lore. In terms of playtesting our board game, we played a smaller version of the game. The prototype of our board game didn't include as many cards, items, or scenarios as we would like in the full game, but it did give us an experience and a vital look at the key gameplay mechanics. One of the things we learnt very early on was that some of the scoring, especially in the beginning of the game, can be rather confusing. In this case, to complete the scenario cards, you need to have a certain amount of points. As an example, you get points for body parts and magical items. For an example, each body part was 25%, and certain magical items have different percentages depending on what they are. Wands are 25, spell might be 10%. Originally, at the beginning of the game, we realised that playing with no body parts at the start made you unable to complete these tasks. This led to a really awkward moment where we weren't able to complete any of the scenario cards. And we had to come up with an on-the-fly solution, which was playing rock, paper, scissors with the person to your right. And as we know, that is not a reliable gameplay mechanic. So we realised on future playthroughs you would have to start off with at least one body part, or a token. And the token can be redeemed for either an item or a body part, giving you the choice. Throughout the rest of the game testing, it was very positive. A lot of the core gameplay mechanics outside of that one worked really well and combined to make a very positive gameplay experience. Overall, I think the playtesting was a valuable achievement. Overall, I think the playtesting was a valuable part of this research because otherwise we would have never found that error, which would have really stifled our game's development.